Hey, everybody, it's another episode of It's Life TV with your boy JT. And I am here with the one and only Yanni Ma, a.k.a. the FairyPlugMother. What's going on, baby girl?
Hey, how are you? How are you?
I can't complain. So let's get into it. What side of Chicago you grew up on?
The Southside.
Southside?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What area?
So I stayed in a couple of different spots, but I stayed mostly I grew up on 68th and Woods.
Okay.
With my grandma.
Okay, when you was growing up over there, how was that like?
It was cool.
It was cool?
Mm-hmm.
Was it a lot of trauma? Well, not too much.
No, it was just, I stayed with my grandma, so I just grew up around a lot of different kids, church.
Right, I feel
A lot of church.
I feel that.
And that was it.
How was your household? Was you the only kid? You had siblings?
I'm the only child.
Only child?
But when I was growing up staying with my grandma, it was my aunt and my cousin, so we stayed in the house together.
Okay. So how was that like, growing up with grandma?
It was cool, in a way. To a certain extent. My grandma, she was a little protective. So certain stuff she didn't allow us to do. Like we couldn't go to people's house and spend nights. Like, how some teenagers had a little freedom.
Right.
I feel she could have gave us just a little more freedom, but it's still, now that me being an adult, I appreciate that.
Right.
That tough love back in the day.
Okay, that's what's up. So you went to church Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
Ooh,
Friday?
child, you hear me? Afternoon,
Deacon meeting.
Bible service. I was a nurse, y'all. We was in the choir. I was a little usher for a minute, but then I became the church nurse, so it was a lot. We did everything.
What's a church nurse?
The pastor,
Mm-hmm.
you cater to the pastor basically. Like we get him water,
okay.
if you need napkins, things of that nature.
Okay. So you went to Miles Davis, Vernon Johns, and Guggenheim.
Yeah.
What was those elementaries like? I remember all about Guggenheim.
Well, Miles Davis and Vernon Johns was kind of together. Miles Davis was like, I went there when in first grade, so from first through third, I was at Miles Davis. Then from 4th through 8th, I went to Vernon Johns. And unfortunately, me and my cousin was graduating the same year. So they transferred. She didn't want to come to the school I was at. I didn't want to go to Harvard, basically. So they transferred us both out, Harvard and Vernon Johns, and they put us in Guggenheim together.
How was
Don't.
It was cool. Any experiences, that kind of took place?
It was cool to a certain extent, but by that time I had already friendships. Like, when you old and you a teenager,
Yeah.
Once you too comfortable with your other peoples, you know what I'm saying, and your peers and stuff, you're not really trying to meet no new peers.
Exactly.
Then in 8th grade too, so you going to a whole new school, boys, females. It was just like, it was cool though, because I end up, meeting some cool people that I'm still acquaintances with and friends with from this day. So it was still cool, but it was still a little trials, a little testing, people.
Oh, you gonna get that.
Yeah.
Powell Robeson High School. What was that? What year did you go to Robeson?
99 to 2003. It was
4 years, graduated?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It was really, 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 really cool. Like, for real. Like, I met some great teachers, some great associates / some great friends. I did a lot of different things in Robeson, too. Like, I've always been, I guess I've been a FairyPlugMother before I knew I was a FairyPlugMother, because I did some of everything.
Right.
I tried track. I did basketball. I tried tennis.
At least you was active.
Then tennis was the longest that I stayed with it though. Like, cause I really like tennis though. Everybody was like, what?
Yeah, I can never get it.
So I like the tennis. I was a coach of the tennis team for a little minute, so that was cool.
Serena Williams, huh?
And then
no, it's that new chick now.
Yeah.
What else? That was really it. As far as high school, in graphic communication, that was my niche right there.
Okay, so you was the go-to person for graphic communication.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what made you get into that?
because I like to design and create stuff, and because it was like, so you know how schools have different majors and stuff. And at first I was in this math program called See Mister. I'll never forget that. It was cool, but that wasn't for me. Don't get me wrong, I like math, I like counting money, I like adding little dollars up, but it just wasn't for me. I didn't like the program, so I switched, and I went to graphic communication. It was like match made in heaven, because I like to create, I like to make things, computer technology wise. So like it was fun. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I had reasons to come to school verbatim, not want to come to school. So it was kind of cool.
So you really didn't have any major altercations during your school career, huh? Like as far as like fighting and all of that?
We had a couple of altercations, but because, you know, back in the day, it was better for kids to grow up, because like we had a couple of little, my friend don't like your friend, so your friend don't like my friend, but it wasn't that, like, we might have a little fight and stuff, but we left it at that, you know, like, it wasn't nothing major. We never really had nothing really major.
Okay. So when you left Robeson, what college did you attend to?
I went to Daly, Richard J. Daly.
Okay. What'd you take up at Daly?
Early childhood education was my first major. Then once I stopped doing early child education, you know, as a teacher, I switched my major to business administration, specializing in entrepreneurship.
Okay. So, teacher assistant part, what was that about? Just like being around kids?
So, yeah, first I started out as a teacher assistant in 2003. And then, you know, as you start progressing and working into your field and people teaching you things, then I graduated up, you know, and I became a teacher in my own classroom. So I was a teacher for about 6 years of my teaching career. I had my own classrooms. It was kind of cool.
Okay.
So,
How'd you go from graphics
Design
to
to
teaching to...
So, basically, like at Robeson, though, we didn't have a child development program, because I always wanted to be a teacher. So, they didn't have a child development program, so it was like, what else you want to do? Like I said, I tried to see Mr. program. That was with the math. It was math, science, technology program. I didn't like that, so it was like, what else you going to do? We didn't have a lot of choices. So when I was in high school, I just picked the graphics communication because that was easy. I like the computers anyway. Anybody tell you, like, I like, back in the day, growing up in the computer class, typing fast, you know, learn, like, I just had the assistant type of secretarial mentality when I was a kid.
Right.
I like to carry purses. I like laptops. I like work bags. I don't know, like, that was that was me. So graphics, it was just easy to do to where I could bypass my time in high school and make sure that I graduated with my diploma, you know, on time. Made sure I stayed out of trouble.
Well, shit, now that I know you like to type, you'll be typing up my book or something. Straight.